and thought I would show you how I check my colors before I start coloring. Now, one tip that I learned probably most recently from Dee Dee Willingham is that colored pencil works over acrylic paint much better than, going dark to light, much better than pencil over pencil. And of course I don't have my, excuse me while I move stuff around, I don't have my white Prismacolor pencil out, so let me take a second and just grab that. Okay, this is just my 338 white Prismacolor, and it's one of my old ones. But so if I take my 335 black Prisma pencil and I color on a page, and you know, generally you go light and you gradually go into this dark thing, and you get it nice and dark, and then you say, you know, there should be a highlight on that. So then you take your white Prismacolor pencil and you try to do white over that, and what you get is a smear that never really goes white. Let me see if I can get this to actually show you. You see how that just kind of smears out, and it kind of leaves a black mark on your white pencil because pretty much you're just moving the black pencil around. Clean my white pencil off a little. Whereas if this were black acrylic paint, or any acrylic paint, dried, you always have to let it dry, the pencil would show up. Here, let me get a little bit of gray out, and I will show you with gray. Don't need much. Paper towel, because I don't want much water either. Okay, so taking my, just a regular cheap craft paintbrush, I'm just going to spread this out as though I was painting in the background on a coloring book page or picture, stamped image, anything that you want to color. Okay, and then I'm going to have to dry this, so I'll just avoid the bottom little blob there that I had kind of extra paint hanging around down here. So I will show you with my white pencil. Yeah, that's all dry. But with this white pencil now, I can go on there and create the highlights without a problem. And this is gray, not black, which is why the white doesn't look as white. But as Dee Dee says, and that's when you can create stars and shooting stars and little glinting highlights. But it works on acrylic paint, but it doesn't work over pencil. All you do is smudge your base pencil, and it blends, it lightens up the blend, but it doesn't show white. And I think that's a pretty valuable tip myself. And I really thank Dee Dee for showing everything that she knows, because she has a lot of knowledge about this, and she's pretty open about how she does things. So that is a very good tip. Okay, so In my sped up clip, you could see that I had drawn in some, well, you can't see it here though. You could see that I added more background just to kind of seat this trunk in the woods. And I freehanded all this. I just based it on Joanna Basford's shrubs and bushes that she has in other pictures in this book. And I need to go in and base some of these other things in some watered down acrylic paint. And that's one thing about doing the acrylic paint in the background, like in the sky area, in that robin's egg blue, is I can now go back with different colored pencils, even white, and put in clouds or more trees, and it will color and draw over that acrylic paint without too much of an issue. I have to do the acorns and other things, so I've been sitting here kind of pulling out pencils and things, because here in the Northeast, I don't know how it is in other areas of the world where oak trees grow. I imagine they're pretty similar. The caps are generally a pretty matte mid-brown color with some dark edges. And then the bottoms are generally a lighter tan color with maybe a little bit of a green or yellow hue, depending on the ripeness of the nut. So that's what I intend to do here. I had looked up some images for prickly fruit, or fruit with spines, or nuts with spines online, and it showed me, and I don't have it on my iPad anymore, I'd show you, it came up with some like artichoke colored, eggplanty, deep green nut or fruit, not sure what this is, that had beautiful dark green and purpley spikes, which is what I hope to do with this. These are either going to be purpley blackberries or reddish hued red raspberries. I'm not sure which. And then there are some little currants or elderberries in here too that I will be coloring. And then there's some bird feathers. And I'm thinking these are large bird feathers, so I'm probably going to do these in a shade of blue, black, or gray to be, it depends on what part of the world or country you're from, whether they're called crows or ravens or blackbirds. But, so that's what those are going to be. And you can see in here where I was doing a little bit of testing with different colored blue and green pencils, just as a background treatment. That's not finished, it was just a test. And down here where I have the dark green oak leaf, I did some dark green shadowing around the one edge, because I need to do something more with the floor of the forest. I haven't done any extra coloring in of the rocks. The tree is still pretty much the way I left it. And so yeah, we're at a point where we can move on. So, and that's the next thing we're going to do. I thought I would just cut quick and show you that I also use these little 3x5 cards to test out some of my color choices. And I know you're not going to be able to see my writing there because I wrote it in a very light Prismacolor pencil that I was testing. But that's what I want to do for the base of the acorns. Okay, it's not going to focus either. But here, let me show you what I mean. I am using these 4 colors. I'm going to do a very light base in this Prismacolor 327, which is light peach. So I'm just going to do little circular strokes and begin coloring this in. Okay. I love it when the camera cuts out. So we just did the peach, and I'm just coming in now with the light peach and blending over everything. just picked this blue up because I want to go back around some of the purple areas with the blue. And I'll be going over all of it with the light blue maybe. Okay, well, I am working on my Squirrels Treasure Box again. And I've come to a point where I've drawn in and inked a little bit more for the background. And this is all kind of, I imagine that this is deep in the woods. And this is actually too light because it makes it look like it would be sky. And I think it would actually be greenery. But I don't want to draw that all in and take that amount of time. So what I'm going to do is take a brush, and it's damp. I'm just going to take all the extra water out of it. Okay. And then, oh, it's got a hair that's hanging out to the side. I'm going to get a hold of my scissors. I'm going to, let's see, can you see it? It's right there. That it's just frayed. So I'm just going to clip that off and throw that away. Okay, I put some of this Anita's all-purpose acrylic paint in leaf green into my palette, and I'm just going to go in and make some of those areas leaf green. I still have my cutting mat behind my page. It's not quite wide enough to cover the whole page, so I just have to remember to move it when I move. So first I'm just going to do across the top. Okay, so you can see I've kind of brought, let's see if I can tighten it up and show you that. Maybe not. Oh, hang on. Oop. Ah, sorry. Let me move my paints. Up there. And I'll just pull this over here. But I don't know if you can see, but this is starting to look like shadowy leaves and some little branches that I can now go in with some colored pencils and highlight and maybe add a few little flowers or something out here just to kind of make some of it come forward and some of it go back. But before I do that, I want to do some more with the pieces that I already have out here. So let me widen you back out a little. Okay. Let's see, so that took care of most of that, but I still have, now I have all this green background, and I have all of my bushes and stuff that are all drawn in. So I think what I'm going to do is I will go in and I'll just put a light base of this light green color on this bush. And the grass, doesn't really matter. I have been working a little bit on this page. And here you can see I put some of the leaf green acrylic paint there, but that's okay. And I say it's a light coat, but I find that I'm still struggling to keep a light hand. But down in that area here is probably a lot of shadows, so that's okay. It's a coloring book, and you do what you like in your coloring book. It's getting all the grass fronds based in this light green color. And you can see down here in the corner, there is other green that I've already got a little bit darker. So I'm just going to go over that a little bit. A little here, a little there. Just kind of working through a blend. Okay. I'll come back with some other stuff on there. Okay, well, I'm back. I've done some more yellow around on leaves and things. Didn't notice that my camera had quit. Sorry about that. But I'm going to put a little bit of yellow here. Okay, so I pulled out my tritones and I'm just going over some of the ground area. I think I lost a little bit because my camera stopped. I'm sorry about that. I'm actually almost done with Squirrels Treasure Box part of this project. I don't have to do squirrel. So we'll see. Let's see. I think I'm going to get that one that I was just using was forest. Now I'm going to use rainforest, which has the darker colors. And it might seem a little counterintuitive because I'm going to put it, I think I'm going to put it up in the more top area, but I may go over it and blend it all with something else. But I thought I should put a little bit more of the blue that I've been using to band some of the bushes. I don't know, maybe not. This might be it for this blue. Maybe I'll add a little bit around the berries. Yeah, it looks a lot better down in there, doesn't it? Kind of pretty. Okay. Yeah, I'll go for a little in front of the trunk. Maybe down here next to these leaves that are kind of the, of course I guess maybe you're not seeing it. I'm sorry about that too. Okay. So let's see, I will go back to the tritone that has some yellow in it, and it's called Meadow. And I'm just going to put some of that in up here. Let's see if I widen that out just a little. There. going to go over some of the rainforest that I put in previously, because that was kind of a bluey green too. Okay, and I might just take this Arrow Prismacolor 313, which is a spring green kind of color that I've been using as a base, and maybe just run it back kind of lightly over all of this just to smooth it down a little. Not that it is, or not like I even kind of know what I'm doing. I guess I'm just showing you that, you know, your coloring book is your coloring book, and it's up to you what you want to do in it. They don't all have to be alike, and we don't, I mean, color in a way that makes you comfortable and happy. And let's see, I am going to pick up forest again, and I might just do some of these leaves a little darker. And then those I might want to do a little lighter. Okay, well, let's see. I only have one spot left to get color on. Let me see if I can move my camera a little bit so you can see it too. And it's the straps up here that come down across the top of the chest. And I think I'm just going to put some red brown. I don't have a color name on this, but it's Prismacolor Scholar 345. And I just want these to look a little bit leathery. So I'm just going to put a light coat of brown in. And then I will go back with, let's see if I can find, I think, I'm not sure what this is. I think it might be either terracotta or Tuscan red. I'm just going to put this in over the top. And then, let's see, maybe over that I'll put a little bit of this carmine red in the color, Prismacolor color erase. Okay, so really the only thing I have left to do here is to go back through and maybe highlight some things and set them off from other parts, well, except for these leaves over here that maybe rainforest would be good for these. I don't know if you can, you can't. these leaves over here aren't really colored yet. So I think I'm going to go in with Rainforest, which again is that bluer color. And then this one is the meadow. Okay, and then I'm just going to go back over that with this light color green. Okay, and I may maybe put a little rainforest here on this piece of grass. There, and I'm going to take okay. So anyway, let's widen that out. Move some of my coloring pencils. And I'm going to take this out of here. And I'll bring it up to you. And that's what Squirrels Rainforest looks like right now. Not Rainforest, no. Squirrels Treasure Box. That's not too bad. It's my first page in one of these coloring books. And it's my first page attempting to do it in multimedia and shading. And not my strong suit yet. But I kind of like it. So I will have to go on and color Squirrel and see how he does being attached to this page. Thanks for watching.